All right, deep dive fans, buckle up. We're diving headfirst into the Australian Open men's final.
Sinner versus Zverev.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And looking at the intel pack here, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
some of you might be a little surprised to see these two names
Definitely.
in the final, right? I mean, no Alcaraz,
Bro.
no Djokovic.
Yeah.
So how did we end up here?
It's pretty wild when you think about it because it's not very often at all
Right.
that you see the world number 1 and 2
Okay.
facing off in a Grand Slam final.
Yeah.
Actually, the last time that happened was 2019.
Oh, wow.
Djokovic and Nadal.
Wow. So we could be in for a historic match here,
Absolutely.
no matter who wins.
Sure.
Let's start with Jannik Sinner.
Okay.
He has been on fire this season.
He has, yeah. Sinner's been just on another level.
Yeah.
His hardcourt stats are unbelievable.
Like, what are we talking about here?
Since the start of 2024, we're looking at
Sure.
7 titles out of 10 hardcourt events.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And his win-loss record is staggering.
Okay.
You're
61-3.
61-3.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Pretty dominant, right?
It is, but I do remember reading that he's had some physical issues,
Yeah, there have been
even during this tournament.
some concerns.
Yeah.
You know, during those matches against Rune and Shelton,
Oh, right.
there were moments where,
Yeah.
you know, those nagging injuries from the last couple of seasons
Right.
seem like they might be flaring up a bit.
Okay. So could that be a factor?
It's definitely something to watch
Okay.
because that's really the only thing
Yeah.
that seems to slow him down.
Yeah.
But even with those concerns,
Yeah.
he's managed to reach 3 consecutive hardcourt slam finals,
Wow.
which is pretty incredible.
That's a lot of pressure, too.
It is.
You know,
It's
to be there every single time.
absolutely only
Uh,
10 players in history who
Yeah.
managed to do that.
That's incredible.
And he's also on a
20-match winning streak
wow.
in hardcourt slams.
Okay.
Second only to Djokovic.
Wow, it really does feel like
Oh.
peak Djokovic in terms of dominance.
It does have that feeling, that
Yeah.
aura of invincibility.
Is there anything else in the stats
Oh, yeah.
that sort of points to that level of play?
Absolutely. If you look at his current streak against top 10 players,
Okay.
9 matches,
Wow.
all won in straight sets.
Straight sets?
Straight sets.
Oh,
Yeah, the last time he lost a set
Good.
to a top 10 player
okay.
was all the way back in 2023
Oh, wow.
against, you guessed it, Djokovic
Of course.
at the ATP finals.
So that's the kind of force
Yeah.
that Zverev's up against.
Yeah.
But he's
yeah.
also had an amazing year too, right?
He has.
He's number 2 in the world.
Yeah, he's reached number 2 in the rankings.
He's got to be hungry for that first Grand Slam win.
He is,
That's
but
things.
Zverev's path to the final has been, let's just say, a bit more fortunate
Okay.
than Sinner's.
In what way?
Well, Djokovic retiring in semis
Oh, right. Yeah.
definitely played a part
Yeah.
in Zverev reaching this stage.
Yeah, I imagine that could play a role
It can.
in how he approaches the final.
No, sure.
Do you think that kind of break affects a player's momentum at all?
It certainly can,
Yeah.
and in this case,
Yeah.
it might actually benefit Zverev.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, historically,
Yeah.
Zverev has had a tougher time
Right.
against top 10 players in
Yeah.
Grand Slam settings.
Okay. So not having to face
Yeah.
the top player
Exact-
might actually work to his advantage.
It could, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He's also been in 2 Grand Slam finals before, right?
That's right, yeah.
And lost both.
2 tough losses.
Yeah.
The first one to Thiem at the 2020 U.S. Open.
Okay.
And then just last year,
Yeah.
he lost to Alcaraz at the French Open. And that one was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was up 2-1
Oh, yeah.
and just couldn't close it out.
Oof, that's got to sting.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So I'm curious, going up against Sinner,
Yeah.
how do you think those losses play on his mind?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the mental game is huge,
Yeah.
especially in a Grand Slam final.
Right.
And this is where Zverev's experience could be a factor.
Okay, you're saying those losses
Yeah.
could actually work in his favor.
Hey, they could, because he's been there before.
Right.
He knows the pressure.
Yeah.
He understands the intensity. You know,
Right.
that kind of experience is
Yeah.
invaluable.
But wouldn't those losses,
Yeah.
especially that French Open final
Right.
against Alcaraz,
Yeah.
wouldn't that add even more pressure?
You'd think so, right? I mean, being so close to winning and then
Yeah.
falling short,
Yeah.
that can mess with your head.
Definitely.
But I think Zverev has had time to process it,
Okay.
to analyze what went wrong
Yeah.
and hopefully use those lessons
Yeah.
to fuel him this time around.
So he might be the underdog on paper,
He is.
but his mental game
Yeah.
could be his secret weapon.
It could be, yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But what about Sinner?
Yeah.
This is his third consecutive hardcourt slam final.
It is.
But he's still relatively young.
He is.
Do you think the pressure
It's possible, yeah.
to get to him?
You know, he's shown amazing composure
Yeah.
in those previous finals.
Right.
But the stakes keep getting higher.
Yeah.
That pressure to maintain that dominance,
Right.
to live up to the hype
Yeah.
that can weigh on you.
Especially with those lingering concerns about his fitness, right?
That's right.
If this match goes
Yeah.
4 or 5 sets,
Yeah.
that could really test his limits.
Absolutely. And that's another thing that could play into Zverev's hands.
Right.
You know, he's coming into this final. Yeah.
Much fresher,
Right.
conserved a lot of energy in the semis.
Yeah. He had a much easier match.
Exactly.
So we've got Sinner, the dominant force,
Right.
but that question mark
Mhm.
over his fitness
Yeah.
versus Zverev,
Uh-huh.
the experienced underdog with the mental game
Right.
to pull off the upset.
It's going to be good.
Oh, I'm already nervous.
I know, me too.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's break down the tactics a bit.
Okay.
What are the key battles we should be watching for on the court?
Well, it all starts with the serve.
Okay.
Both players have weapons,
Right.
but Zverev's serve is cannon.
Yeah.
If he can consistently land his first serve,
Yeah.
it'll put immense pressure on Sinner's return game.
Which has been exceptional throughout the tournament.
It has.
I'm so curious to see how he handles that chower.
Me too.
Is this like an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object?
It really is.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fascinating clash of styles.
Sinner's return is precise and powerful,
Yeah.
but Zverev's serve is just pure power.
It's raw.
Raw power.
So if Sinner can neutralize that serve,
Right.
then he can really start to dominate the rallies.
That's right.
Yeah, because his baseline game,
It's aggressive?
it's aggressive. He loves to dictate the points.
Uh-huh.
What's Zverev's counter to that?
Well, Zverev's biggest strength is his movement.
Okay.
He covers the court incredibly well,
Yeah.
and he can transition from defense to offense so smoothly.
So he can absorb Sinner's power
Exactly.
and then turn it against him.
That's the key.
Okay, so it'll be like this chess match
Yeah.
with Sinner trying to overpower him
Yeah.
and Zverev trying to outmaneuver him.
It's going to be a battle of wits out there.
What else should we be looking out for?
Don't underestimate the net game.
Okay.
Sinner's improved his volleys,
Yeah.
but Zverev's a natural at the net.
Really?
Yeah, great hands, excellent reflexes.
Mhm.
He's not afraid to finish points at the net.
Yeah. So if Zverev can pull Sinner in,
Right.
maybe after a big serve or
Yeah.
a deep ground stroke, they'll have the advantage.
That's the strategy.
Okay.
You know, these little tactical battles
Yeah.
within the larger match
Uh,
are going to be fascinating.
I think what I'm realizing as
Yeah.
we're talking about this
Yeah.
is just the complexity of the game.
Oh, absolutely.
It's more than just
Yeah.
hitting the ball hard.
It's a mental game as much as a physical one.
Yeah, and they're constantly adapting,
You have to.
strategizing,
Yeah.
anticipating
Right.
their opponent's next move.
Exactly.
I think that's what makes this final so compelling.
I agree.
We had the clash of styles,
Yeah.
contrasting narratives, the hunger for victory.
Definitely.
It's going to be edge of your seat.
It's going to be good.
I'm excited already.
You can feel the tension building.
Yeah.
You know, this is what makes Grand Slam finals so special.
Yeah.
Two warriors
Yeah.
battling it out.
On the biggest stage,
On the biggest stage.
each with a chance to make history.
It's amazing.
Well said. I'm definitely excited to see how it unfolds.
Me too.
Now, you mentioned the historical significance of this final.
Right.
I think it's time to dive into that a bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about what a win would mean
Yeah.
for each of these players
All right.
and for the sport itself.
Let's do it.
So we've talked about Sinner's dominance
Yeah.
and Zverev's experience,
Right.
but what does a win actually mean
Yeah, that's a good question.
for each of these guys?
Well, for Sinner,
Yeah.
a win here just solidifies him as the next big thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like cements it.
It cements it.
Okay.
3 hardcourt slam finals in a row at his age.
It's pretty unheard of.
It's unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, it puts him in the conversation
Okay.
with the all-time greats,
Well,
even at this early stage in his career.
at this age, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say
Yeah.
he would be the one to beat
Absolutely.
for a while.
For the foreseeable future.
Wow.
Yeah.
And for Zverev,
Yeah.
what would a win mean for him?
I think it would be huge, especially mentally.
Okay.
You know, he's been chasing that first Grand Slam title
For a while.
for a while now.
Yeah.
And he's faced a lot of criticism
Oh, really?
for not converting
Yep.
in those previous final appearances.
Ah, I see. So a win here would...
Silence the doubters.
Yeah.
It would show that he
I
has the
like-
mental toughness to win on the biggest stage.
Actually against Sinner.
Exactly, especially against someone as dominant as Sinner right now.
So it could be a real turning point
It could be,
in his career.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've got Sinner
Right.
reinforcing his dominance with a win,
Yeah.
and Zverev with this redemption story.
Yeah, almost like a comeback story.
Talk about
They're
pressure.
high stakes.
Any predictions?
Predictions are tough.
Oh, come on. You got to have a feeling.
I mean, based purely on form,
Mm.
I'd give Sinner the edge.
Okay.
He's just playing with so much confidence and aggression.
Right.
But I wouldn't count Zverev out.
No.
He's got the experience,
Yeah.
the resilience,
Right.
and we know he can beat Sinner on hard courts.
He's done it before.
He has.
Right. And there's that physical factor, too.
Exactly.
If this goes to 4 or 5 sets,
Yeah.
Zverev's freshness,
It could be the deciding factor.
it could be.
Yeah.
This isn't, it's like
It's going to be a good one.
a clash of titans.
It is.
The unstoppable force versus the immovable object.
I like that.
I'm on the edge of my seat already.
Me too. You know what I love about these matchups?
What's that?
It's not just about the tennis.
Oh, interesting.
It's about the personalities,
Okay.
the destinies, the
Extremely simple.
narratives. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds us that
Yeah.
sports is about more than just
Yeah.
wins and losses.
What else is it about then?
It's about the human spirit, the pursuit of excellence,
Yeah.
the triumph over adversity.
That's powerful.
And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
both of these guys have already made their mark on tennis history.
They have.
Yeah,
It's pretty amazing.
it is.
Well, I think we've given our listeners
Right.
plenty to think about
Yeah.
as they watch this final unfold.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a match for the ages.
It is.
And no matter what happens,
Yeah,
we're going to learn a lot
we are.
about both Sinner and Zverev.
For sure.
Maybe even a little about ourselves.
Yeah, maybe a little bit about ourselves.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's what the deep dive is all about.
exactly.
Thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
So we've talked about their styles, the mental game,
Right.
the tactics, the narratives.
Yeah.
But now I want to talk about the big picture.
Yeah.
What does a win
Right.
in this final actually mean for these guys?
Well, I think for Sinner, it's
Yeah.
about solidifying his legacy. It's about showing the world
Yeah.
that he is the next dominant force
Yeah.
in men's tennis.
I mean, he's already shown that
He has.
with the wins,
Yeah.
with the titles,
Right.
but I guess a win here
It takes it to another level.
and makes a statement.
Makes a statement, yeah.
And what about for Zverev?
For Zverev, I
Yeah.
think it's more about proving himself.
Okay.
It's about silencing those critics.
Right. Those who say
Yeah.
that he can't win the big one.
Exactly.
Okay. So there's a lot on the line
There is.
for both of them.
Yeah.
I guess that's what makes it so exciting.
It does.
You know, it's more than just a match.
It's a story.
It's almost like these two
Yeah.
contrasting stories
You
coming
jump at-
together
On the biggest stage.
on the biggest stage.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up here,
Yeah.
any final thoughts
Final thought.
for our listeners?
I would just say, enjoy the match.
Yeah.
You know, appreciate the athleticism,
Right.
the
right.
skill, the mental toughness. It's really inspiring.
It is. It is.
And I think no matter who wins,
Yeah.
we're all going to be winners.
Oh, so.
Because we get to witness
Yeah.
this battle of champions.
That's a great way to put it.
And who knows, maybe
Mhm.
this match will inspire some of us
Okay.
to push ourselves a little harder,
Oh, I like that.
to strive for greatness in our
Yeah.
own lives.
That's a great takeaway.
Thanks.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. I
Oh.
want to thank you
Of course. Thank you.
for joining me
It's been fun.
and for sharing your insights.
My pleasure.
And thank you to all our listeners
Yeah, thanks for listening.
for tuning in.
We appreciate you.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive
That's right.
into a topic you're passionate about.
Until then,
Keep learning
keep exploring.
and keep diving deep.